Oh, we're live. Okay, we're live. Oh my God. Excuse me. We're live now. I'm gonna start something in a second here. We'll call that real live. Right now we're soft live. We've soft launched. Congratulations. We've soft launched, switching to creator mode on my app. All right. Uh, we are soft launched. Let's go for it. I'm gonna be coughing a lot today, I think. Which is what we love to have. But I'm going to start with some tunes because I learned how to do this. And it's probably going to be real loud on that side. And then I'm going to do this. Watch. Uh, and I'm going to bring the volume on down so we can have some little background music. And see how there. Matt Calder, thank you very much. Thanks for the congrats on being soft launched. I appreciate that. It's good to see you here. It's good to have you in here. Thanks for the. That's a first time chat. That's exciting. How are you doing today? Hope things are going well. Can I ask a quick favor? Can you let me know if the audio is if the soundtrack is too loud? If the soundtrack is too loud, I can turn it down more. If the soundtrack is not loud enough, Vigatron, if you missed the haunting live, you would riot. There's always that's what the VOD is for, and I'm so glad you're here though. Thank you so much as always for coming. This is exciting. I think I've got everything set up this time. It is not as let's say ambitious a stream as last time. So there you go. Very quiet. Definitely hear me out now. Can't hear much of the soundtrack. Um, oh, you know what? The sound might get caught in the YouTube ID content system for the archives. It is, in fact, the RoboCop Game Boy theme. But you know what I'll do? I'll just go for it. That is how we learn. If I gets caught, I will send Ocean, the publisher, a lot of money, $29.99 for a copy of the game, and hopefully that will make it all work out. So, also good news is here. Home Team Game Dev is here. Thank you all so much. This is fantastic. This is exciting. We got 2 manuals today. I'm excited. The first one will be Haunting, starring Polterguy on the Sega Genesis. That one is a meaningful game to me. Or is that the second game? I don't know. One of the games is Haunting, starring Polterguy. I don't remember anything. It is a special game for me. I'll give a little bit of background on that. It is a game that was given to me along with a Sega Genesis by the guy who did most of the animation on the game, a guy named Greg Williams. He has passed. He died in the early 2000s, relatively young guy, but he was a dad, a carpool dad, and he was one of the coolest dads I ever met. He listened to Weezer. He watched Beavis and Butthead. He played Street Fighter. He was amazing. So I was interested in video games. He was an animator for EA, and he gave me this game and a number of other games, including Skitchin and all that sort of stuff. But Haunting always stood with me. So I wanted to read that one to honor Greg Williams, who I've been thinking about a lot lately, just as a good guy in the industry. And also because it's cool as hell. And those Sardini jerks have it coming to them. The other game that I have going on is a game that I honestly don't know that much about, but it is a Psygnosis game. So I figured that is good for something. It is Assault Rigs on the PlayStation 1. It's from the Long Boy box era. And it looks really interesting. It looks very of its era. But as a Psygnosis title, I presume that it might have a reasonably good manual. I've discovered that to this point. So before we jump into it one more time, I will say that there will be a little quiz. It's less of a quiz and more of a guess that everybody gets to make. First person to get it right later on between manuals will earn a key to either N++ or what was the other one I said? Melatonin. We'll figure that out as we go. I don't know exactly what's going on with that yet. But yeah, I also want to call out, I have been playing, I was gifted a copy, and so I'll call that out. I was gifted a copy of Saturn DX coming out on the Switch later this month. This is not a This is not a paid advertisement, but I've been playing that game forever on Steam, and the Switch version is fantastic. It is an amazing kind of dual joystick shooter game, roguelike thing. It's wonderful. It's fantastic, colorful. I can share the link later on. But yeah, that's about it. So should we do this? Shout outs, looking at the Slack, the Slack, looking at Slack, looking at chat. We should do this over Slack. Do you think we could do that? Just like one big huddle? I think that'd be awful, actually. Shout out to Carpool Dad. Matt Calder says, cool, good guy, Greg. He indeed was. And let's go ahead and hop into one of the two manuals. I don't remember which. So we're about to find out together as I do this. Also, good news. Ideally, less Slack in your life. Maybe we could move this over to an email thread. Does Microsoft Outlook support streaming? So we could find out. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at whatever game this is. Oh yeah, okay. Assault Rigs. We're gonna start with Assault Rigs today, and I'm gonna ask again. Can everybody still hear me over what I presume is the new music that I put on for Assault Rigs, which might also get me in trouble for copyright now that I'm thinking about it, but not when I was doing this last night. Can you all hear me okay? Cannot hear music. Still super low. Okay, I had turned it down because I was worried that it would be too low, but if I go like this, is that too loud? If I move it to this, I've moved it to, let's give it a shot. I'm gonna grab my manual while you listen to the beautiful music. That's workable. Okay, I'll take it. If folks need it to be adjusted, let me know. I've got all sorts of sliders in front of me, and that's good. So it sounds like maybe around, what is it, the minus 30 decibels? I don't know how sound works. It says minus 30 decibels. Still on the quiet side, Mix Master Nick, that's me. I'm gonna bring this one up just a scotch. Oh, that's hard. It's a hard thing to do. Hold on. There we go. I'll leave it there. I'm just going to leave it there for now. I will take this into advisement for next time, and I will read Assault Rigs. So Assault Rigs, as you can see, is a video game, and it is an interesting looking one at that. It's a game where you commandeer a floaty looking but kind of neat a mech around the landscape, and you blow things up all in VR. So it's very very modern in that sense. It is all about virtual combat. I don't actually know what that means. I'm just sort of talking here while I try to figure out something to say. But we're going to read the manual to get me out of trouble for not really knowing all that much about Assault Rigs, the video game. We've got introduction. The introduction, of course, shows you how to interface with your PlayStation. It's a very simple, streamlined system. And this is from before the DualShock era, from before the two sticks. And we've got some good news for us, everybody. The net will bring the world together. And isn't that true? I think that is absolutely true. We've seen that. The net will bring the world together. But, and this is important, not everyone will come in peace. Assault Rigs is the cyberspace clash of the future, a computer combat zone where virtual rigs battle it out for control of an arena that's packed with power-ups and traps. Collect the gems and hunt down your opponent's rig across huge levels. Then when you find them, blow them into cyber oblivion. Unless they find you first. So we're already starting off, I think, pretty hot here, pretty good. The word cyber has shown up. We don't get to talk about cybering enough anymore. So maybe there's an ASL section in here where we can learn a little bit more about ourselves. But in the meantime, we have a lot of words to read. That's just one page. I'm telling you, these Psygnosis manuals, they are real. Extracts from the first official report of the sponsorship committee of the ZamCam Corporation. And then it's in quotes with a ... In fact, you wouldn't believe the kind of stuff they used to get up to. I mean, take the late 20th century. Talk about barbarism. Here's a list of the kind of things they used to follow obsessively. Soccer, boxing, wrestling, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, synchronized swimming. Need I go on? What's up, McMahon? Thanks for joining. We're reading Assault Rigs on PlayStation. I think you get the picture. Violence, injury, damage to people and property, all pretty nasty and certainly not the ideal way to boost the profile of a go-ahead company. Although that's not to say that people didn't sponsor this stuff. Heck no. Worldwide soda pop conglomerates, huge multinational corporations, publishers, distillers, arms traders, they all queued up to get their names on the front of a team shirt or on a billboard outside a stadium. I should have brought water. We might laugh now, but back then, well, it was seen as a prime opportunity to expose a product to the masses. 22 mud-splattered men kicking lumps off each other wearing the name of your company across their chest was worth a huge stack of cash. Yeah, right. And they used to eat animals too. Like I said, barbarians. It wasn't too long before the net knocked them all sideways, though. Good job, too. Imagine, without it, we might all still be passing a lump of leather across a football field, across a field on a Sunday afternoon even now. Thankfully, the virtual sports on the net soon lost their arcade novelty image and began to supplant the real thing. At first, the sports enthusiasts hated it. For sports enthusiasts, read male bores with a bad case of statistics on the brain who, sure as eggs, are egg-shaped, certainly didn't do anything more energetic than breathing. I mean, what kind of sport was it that didn't result in broken legs, broken ribs, blindings, cuts, scratches, explosions, and public mayhem? It was no sport at all. Take that, sports fans. Egg-headed sports fans, it's pretty safe to say that we need to thank the small companies who saw the virtual sports as a cheap way to advertise, unable as they were to compete with the multinational companies begging for involvement in the real thing. So, the small firms stumped up what money they could to support teams involved in the net leagues. The net leagues. I'm going to click out of my HP support assistant, which helpfully pops up every 5 or 6 minutes. So, the small teams stumped up what money they could to support teams involved in the net leagues. Which wasn't a lot, but that didn't matter because the leagues were tiny too. Just a few net junkies who got a kick from competing against someone from the other side of the globe. The sport didn't matter too much. It was the taking part that counted. I love to be on the net. And then came assault rigs. We got some more to go. In conclusion, here we have a sport that has swept through all nations. Just as we can no longer imagine a world in which people hit and kick each other for fun, or drive real cars around death-trap circuits, neither can we imagine the World Net Championships, without assault rigs. The amount of money involved in this sport has reached immense proportions, and it would be hard to overestimate the benefits should the Zamcam Corporation decide to commit funds to this sport. We all know the names and faces by now, and by sponsoring an official Zamcam assault rig, the world would come to know us the same way. The rigs, of course, have no physical substance. They are all armed vehicles which exist only within the confines of computer code. We would be financing the wages of our rig jockeys, which are on the large side of enormous, prize money, training for future jockeys, and so on, while in return we would get worldwide exposure of the Zamcam name and be associated with what is now undoubtedly the world's #1 sport. There are other sports on the net, but not one other has caught the public imagination the way that assault rigs has. All that can be added is that if Zamcam takes it upon itself to inject finance into the assault rigs, care must be taken to recruit the world's finest rig jockeys. Competition will be intense over the coming season, and we should be major players from the start. The way to become a major player, therefore, is to find a major player. You are the champion rig jockey on the Zamcam Assault Rigs team. Assault Rigs is the #1 virtual shoot-'em-up of the future, and the world's best are out to knock you off your pedestal. You'll drive your rig through maze-like arenas full of traps and enemies, and hunt down the gems that will be your passport to the next level. And when you're there, do it all over again. Whew. The arenas will get increasingly more difficult. Often you'll find that gems are hidden on higher levels, so you'll have to find the elevator that can get you there. And if your rig takes too many hits, well, you're dead. But remember, this is the future, and in the future, death is temporary. So grip your controller hard, pump those buttons, and get back into that rig where you belong. I'm always pumping those buttons after I die. Once Assault Rigs has loaded, there will be an animated introduction sequence. I think this manual has gone from just being straight in character the entire way to very slyly telling you how to get into the game. And I think that that's pretty cool. Once Assault Rigs has loaded, there will be an animated introduction sequence. You can skip this by pressing button X or the start button on your controller. Assault Rigs will then offer you a number of menu screens where you play the game. On each screen, you highlight the various options by using the up and down arrows on the controller, and then pressing button X on the controller to make your selection. To go back through the menus, press the triangle button on the controller. At any time while playing the game, holding down the select button and then pressing and holding the start button for 2 seconds will return you to the title screen. It's like a little code that you get to take into account. So that is the story for Assault Rigs. I personally am grateful to be living in the future where the net has solved our problems and that we certainly don't have any threats of violence anymore and that things are doing real good. So that for me makes me feel great. I love this manual. I knew looking at it, when you see that Signosis logo, you know that you're going to get some good characterization. There's some stuff, menus here, 1-player game, 2-player game, big rumble. 1 player must choose big rumble from the game type menu by using the up and down arrows on the controller to highlight the option and pressing button X on the controller to select it. 1 player must then choose the level the game will be played on by using the up and down arrows on the controller to cycle through the levels and pressing button X on the controller to select the required level. There's a lot of using the up-down arrows and the button X. Gem Wars is a mode in the game, and the only thing I want to call out about Gem Wars as a mode in the game is that Gem Wars has a Z at the end. And so I think that's pretty cool. The objective of Gem Wars is to collect all the gems in the arena and reach the exit before the other player. I watched a bunch of videos. I'm going to have to admit, I did not play Assault Rigs, only because I wasn't able to get a copy in time. I do need to just invest in a Mister, but I want the real deal. I don't know. But I watched some videos, and I think this game looks kind of slick. So I would say give it a shot, give it a look. It's smooth. It's smoother than you would expect, and it's lighter than you would expect. I saw Assault Rigs. I saw this. I thought this was going to be kind of a muddy brown violence game, and it's very colorful. And it seems like they had a lot of fun making it, and certainly a lot of fun writing the manual. There are a lot of weapons. The fly-by-wire missile, bring up the weapon selection bar by pressing button L2 on the controller. Select this weapon by using button L2 to cycle along the bar until the fly-by-wire missile icon is highlighted. Then press button X on the controller. Pressing button X on the controller will then fire the weapon. If I ever do a 24-hour manual stream, I will go through each and every one of these where they tell you in extreme detail exactly how to find all of the weapons and then use them. But there's a bunch of them. Warp deck, push block deck, auto turrets, sentry gun pods. You got a lot of good stuff here. So that is going to be most of the manual for Assault Rigs. Video game manual slumber party, Vijatron points out. Flashback 64 is here. Thank you for coming. Heck yeah, this is great. This rules. This rules. Thank you all so much for coming. I missed this. I didn't get to do this last week because I was on vacation. I'm still trying to sort of be in vacation mode right now, but it is so good to see everybody, and I'm so grateful that y'all have shown up again. Thank you so much for taking some time with me. We do get some credits, so let's call out a few of the folks who did the programming. Mario D'Onofrio, Neil Duffield, Dominic Robinson, Ben Stragnall, and Gavin Whitlock. Public relations was Mark Day, and quality assurance was done by Greg Brown, Jenny Newby, Mark O'Connor, and Paul Tweedle. And the manual editor, which we love to see, is a man named Damon Fairclough. 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 Fairclough? Damon. Damon wrote it. Damon F. wrote the manual, so thank you for this. Special thanks to Jeff Young. Voiceovers were Steve Cook, and the producer was Simon Gardner. So yeah, heck of an era to be doing stuff in video games. Thank you to the fine folks at Signosis for Assault Rigs 1995. So we are coming in on 29 years of Assault Rigs. And I think I will speak for myself, still waiting on the future promised by Assault Rigs, but we'll get there. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm going to call out that Zamcam does, in fact, sound like an allergy medication. So thank you for that. Also, good news. Speaking of which, I'm going to cough and then we'll get to our first giveaway. This is the most, let's say, complex stream that I've done. So just let me bear with me as we do this. I don't have another screen. Something popped up on my thing. I don't have another screen for the giveaway. I'm going to go back to my first one. All right. First one here just for a moment before we get into haunting, which will be next. Today, in order to get, we'll do one and then we'll do another one after this next stream. Does that sound okay? Or this next one? This is going to be for a copy of Melatonin. Melatonin, if you don't know, is a fantastic sort of rhythm heaven-like rhythm game where there's no real UI. You just sort of have to get comfortable with the rhythms of the music, the rhythm of the music, and the actions on screen. It's fantastic. Beejatron, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, even for a bit. I really do appreciate it. It was good to see you in there. And have a good one. So we are going to, I'm going to do this. No cheating. No cheating. Oh, bowing out for the drawing. Oh, okay. Okay. You're still here for the haunting? Okay, Beejatron. I'm sorry. You're still here. That's all right. I don't know, though. Feel free. Feel free. We just no cheating. So, first person to get this right, or closest to right, wins. What, in Street Fighter 2, what is E Honda's birthday? Give it a try. Just get close to it is fine. You don't have to know his exact birthday. But what year? How about this? What year would you suggest E Honda was born in? Importantly, right now it is the year 2024. So let's keep that in mind. Home Team Game Dev says July 11th, 1968. Also, Good News says 1962. Do we have any other let's say any other guesses? I'm gonna give this another moment or two because I can only imagine that listening. Oh, well, yes. So this is from Street Fighter 2 in 1993. So yes, that is true. These are the ages that were given to them in the year 1993. It's just important to note how much older they are now with these ages in there. Do you stand by 1968 Home Team Game Dev? Or do you want to go another route? I'm going to give everybody... Okay, 1968. Okay. Also good news, 1962. Do we have any other guesses? Any other dreams? 1972, McMahon said. Oh yeah, no, Home Team Game Dev. It's very disorienting to see their ages listed out. Because... All right, so we got 1968. Do you know the answer, Bijatron? Flashback 64, just give us a guess. Give us a guess. You don't know how old he's supposed to be? We'll give him a guess. This probably won't play that great if I ever did this on a podcast, but that's okay. We're just here to have fun today. Of course you do. That's true. That's true. Okay. Well, I am going to go ahead and announce that E Honda, I'm reading this slowly in case another one comes in. E Honda, Edmund Honda, height 6'2", weight 304 pounds. He was born November 3rd, 1960. So E Honda is 64 years old. So I think that means that the winner of Melatonin on Steam is also good news with the guess of 1962. And there we go. So He is now but he still fights just as good. So he's 64 years old. Um, don't let the elites tell you that's too old to be a top tier sumo wrestler. This is kind of ripped from the headlines. Age, what is it? So there we go. He could be president. He'd be quite young as a president, as a matter of fact. I'd like to see E Honda age president years in 4 years. So okay, we get also good news wins. Congratulations, that will be coming. We'll have one more for N plus plus at the end of the stream. But in the meantime, let's talk briefly about Haunting, starring Polterguy. This is such a cool game. Haunting starring Polterguy. If anyone hasn't played it, I almost was gonna suggest looking at videos of it, but I don't think it's a great watching game. It is very much a play it and see it for yourself kind of game. The whole conceit is that you are dead, and we'll get into it. You'll get into why we're dead, but you're dead, and you are trying to haunt a family by going into their appliances, their couches, their other furniture, all that sort of stuff, and scare them out of their house. It is such a unique game. It was unlike anything I had ever played at the time. It's a great premise. I think it has fantastic vibes. The music is a little on the harsh side from a Genesis sound perspective, but I think it's great. And it's just unlike anything else. Again, you know, the animator, Greg Williams, wonderful guy, really amazing dude. I think is a bigly responsible. I don't want to say that. Majorly responsible for my love of video games. This guy really, you know, was just so welcoming to me as a kid. I was what, like 11, 12, 13, somewhere around there. And he was just always, he invited me over to hang out with his kid, but we would like do Super Bowl parties. And I got to play Street Fighter in their little Street Fighter 2 tournament during the Super Bowl parties. Amazing stuff. So yes, Beatatron and I are actually, here's a question. Have any of you seen us in the same place at the same time? I don't think so. I think that we are separated at birth and maybe, in fact, the same person. So that's important to note. We'll go ahead and read a little bit about it. One thing that's cool about this game is that it gives you bios for the folks who made it. So we're going to find out a little bit about some of the electronic artists who made this game. Game Players on the back of the box says, this game is so fun, it's scary. It says, scary, make this dartboard change to a bleeding eyeball. Funny, command this couch to become a giant pair of lips. One of the most unique video games of the year. Oh, one of the most unique vid games of the year, says GamePro. Scare the evil, greedy sardinis, those jerks, out of their houses by turning everyday household objects into something scary, funny, or just plain gross. Or use your special spells to really send them shrieking. But you gotta hurry, because your ectoplasm may run out. You and a bud can compete in the dungeon. There's a whole dungeon section where you have to get ectoplasm. Super scary features, 16 megs of cool graphics, gross special effects, and blood-curdling sounds. Unique 3/4 view perspective. Over 400 scary, funny, or gross fright items, each causing something different to happen. 5 special spells. Zombie eyes, super scare, voodoo, ecto extra, and dog off. The dog is a real jerk. Oh god, you're right. Thank you, Beatatron. Haunting does have an OBS scene. It does. Okay, good call. Thank you. See, I got carried away talking about Haunting, and this is what happens. Time moves too fast. Too spooky. The transition was too spooky. I didn't download any of the original soundtrack music because I couldn't actually find an MP3 for it. Only YouTube channels, and I'm gonna be honest, it's got a real harsh Genesis tone. So I went with a piece of soundtrack, which actually, if you look down here, you can see because I didn't know how to remove the image of it. A soundtrack from Electronic Arts in 1993 with covers of famous electronic arts music, called like the Electronic Arts Music Sampler. I will send that out in chat in a little bit. It is pretty good. There's some pretty good stuff in there. Apparently, it's real. I didn't know. So anyway, this game is also from the creators of the arcade hits Paperboy, Cyberball, 720, and Rampart. And here we go. I've got my copy of the game somewhere else here, so I don't have that. But here is the manual. This is one that I did go out of my way and bought for real because I love this game so much and it means so much to me. And I want to send a real quick thanks to everybody who worked on the game, including some of the folks that we're about to meet in the About the Authors section. Electronic Arts used to be something real nifty in this era. I will also say that I reached out to John Salwitz, who is the director of this game, a little while ago to thank him for the game and to ask him a few questions about Greg. And he was really wonderful and very welcoming and open to a completely random LinkedIn message request. So thank you to John Salwitz. John Salwitz has been writing computer games of one sort or another since 1975, when he was in high school in Westfield, New Jersey. After graduating in 1980 with a BA in computer science, there's a typo, from Wilkes College, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, John went to work for the Navy as a contractor systems programmer at the Marine Ocean Systems Center in San Diego. His first love was still coin-op games, and so, after a year, he applied to Atari and was hired. He and Dave Ralston have worked together since they met at Atari in October of 1981, producing Aka R, which flopped, and Paperboy, 720 Degrees, Cyberball, Cyberball 2072, and Rampart, which didn't. Sorry, Aka R. He joined Electronic Arts in 1991. John spends a large part of what spare time he has rebuilding his house. This includes woodworking, electrical work, plumbing, and finish work. He is also an avid Giants, 49ers, and Warriors fan. These guys are so cool. Home Team Game Dev says that he loves John Salwitz, helped talk me into his career, moving from LA to San Francisco early in the career. Hashtag no regrets. That is cool as hell, man. That is awesome. That's very, very, very cool. John Salwitz doing good stuff. Then we got Dave Doc Ralston, a native son of Pomona, California, received a BA in Fine Arts from Santa Clara University. When asked, what on earth are you going to do with a fine arts degree? He would answer, I don't know, or go Dodgers, depending on his mood at the time. His previous game designs include the coin-op versions of Paperboy, 720 Degrees, Cyberball, Cyberball 2072, and Rampart. He's often heard to quip, another punch-kick game? I think I'm gonna blow chow. I think I'm gonna blow chow. Then we have Will Noble. Will Noble's first animation jobs were on the Saturday morning cartoons New Flintstones and Rubik the Amazing Cube. He also worked on the cult animated feature Twice Upon a Time. During 8 years at Atari, he worked on such arcade classics as Paperboy, Super Sprint, Gauntlet, Hard Drivin', Stun Runner, Tubin, and Rampart. It's misspelled. Haunting is the first consumer game he's worked on. Keith Robinson's first exposure to computer and video games was at Yale University in the mid-1970s, where he studied physics. Computers made such a great impression on him that he hung up his white lab coat when he left school and went back to work for the microcomputer industry. For the past 5 years, he's worked as a consultant for various Bay Area firms as a real-life systems programmer in a variety of applications, including gas analyzers, voicemail, video teleconferencing, and network operating systems. Again, all this he gave up to return to his first love. Games, it says. Haunting is Keith's first game. So there we go. Thank you to the primary folks, John Salwitz, Dave Ralston, Will Noble, and Keith Robertson. These guys are pretty cool, it seems like. And if anyone else knows them more, let me know. It would be pretty cool. These guys are awesome. This stuff is amazing to me. So you get to learn how to move. There's all sorts of stuff there. And then you get intro. Go haunt a house. It says, Dude, death sucks. I had a lot of things I wanted to do, and becoming a ghost was like not real high on the list. I mean, not having to go to school is excellent, but all these dungeons I have to hang around in are uncool. They make study hall look like a rave. That's Polterguy. And I also want to just call out the game being called Haunting starring Polterguy. Polterguy is great stuff. Polterguy is fantastic. It's worth it. 10 out of 10 just for that. And I didn't even do anything wrong to get this way. It's Vito rhymes with mosquito, Sardini's fault. What a bloodsucker. Dude, that dude doesn't even deserve to be called dude. He's like an anti-dude. And I'm not the only one he screwed up, him and his junked out skateboards. Sardini set up an overseas skateboard factory. He was too cheap to hire qualified workers, so he set up a robotic assembly line. Ripped from the headlines. It's bad enough that robots know nothing about skating, but Sardini was too cheap to keep them oiled, and he used the cheapest parts he could in his boards. Squeaky machines with sore elbows, building high velocity leisure devices from yesterday's trash? Dude, the best you can expect from that is major epidemic of concrete measles and a bumper crop of maraschinos. Street maraschinos. Oh god. The worst you can expect happened to me, and I wasn't the only one. And that's not all. Sardini's lawyers used all kinds of tricks to hide his ownership in the skateboard factory. He made a lot of money from skaters getting wasted, but he never paid the price for it. Not until now, dude. So, this is a game about corporate malfeasance. This, unfortunately, I'm worried that Vito Sardini could be a front runner in a federal election these days. The object of the game is time to pay back the Sardinis. They own 4 houses, purchased no doubt with Vito's ill-gotten gains. Since Polterguy is now in the house haunting business, it's pretty obvious now, or it's pretty obvious how he's going to even the score. Polterguy has to scare Vito and his obnoxious family, his wife Flo, his son Tony, and his daughter Mimi, out of the houses one by one. He has 2 ways to do it: spells that he can pick up, and items in the houses that he can possess and turn into frightums. As long as he keeps his ectoplasm level up, and as long as he survives, excuse me, I'm verklempt, and as long as he survives the dungeon trips he has to make, he should be able to make the Sardini's lives miserable. And just maybe, he'll get his own life back. Flashback 60, add Polterguy to Smash immediately. Get that team back in the studio. Polterguy in Smash right now. He can haunt the stages and make them hurt Mario and Peach and Donkey Kong and all those guys. In a 1-player game, you win by scaring all the Sardinis out of all their houses and surviving until the end of the game. I think one thing that I'll note is that I remember the houses in this game feeling extremely modern and wishing that they were mine. Not the haunting part, but the rest of it. I just remember seeing it being like, this is so cool. This is like a really rich guy house. So maybe I took the wrong lessons from it. But they are quite nice. They are quite nice homes. You get an overhead map, and you get a little graphic of all the characters, how scared they are. Yes, it does give Home Alone vibes. They should make a haunting Home Alone game where you have to work with the wet bandits to scare Kevin out of the house. I don't know if I've come up with that idea before, but that's an idea. Fear levels. It helps to know exactly how frightened a Sardini is when you're trying to drive them out of the house. Yep, that's true. While you're scaring the daylights out of a Sardini, you can guess how scared they are by their reactions. Fear level is a more precise measurement of their terror. Fear levels are displayed in close-up portraits of the Sardinis. The portraits appear in the lower right corner of the screen while Polterguy is in a room with someone, and in the corners of the screen when the overhead map is showing. The expressions on the portrait are associated with the fear levels. Calm is not scared at all. Low, starting to get frightened. Medium, frightened, starting to lose control. High is very frightened. Control has definitely slipped. And very high, extremely frightened, ready to run screaming out of the room. When Poltergeist scares someone beyond very high fear level, it will drive them out of the house. Tells you a lot about ectoplasm. Let's just go ahead and read about ectoplasm for a quick second. Ectoplasm is the green slime that accumulates from the concentration of supernatural forces in dungeons and houses. It might look like something you'd want to avoid, but it's this goo that keeps you going. Keeps you going. It keeps you going. To pick up ectoplasm, just walk over it. Ecto occurs naturally in dungeons, but it evaporates fast, so you'd better pick it up if in a hurry. It won't disappear completely, but it will greatly be reduced in size. If you pass by any ecto, a green arrow appears pointing in the direction of the goo you left behind. Ecto condenses in houses only when a mortal is frightened by a ghost. Whenever Polterguy frightens one of the sardinis out of a room, ecto appears. Make sure you grab it before it disappears. If you leave a room without picking up the ecto, it will be gone when you come back. The one critique that I have, in case they're ready to do a patch to the game, is that there was a little bit too much reliance on the ecto, and you wind up spending, or I did because I was bad at the game probably, a lot of time rolling around the dungeons. And really, the fun part of the game is making a paper shredder look like it's bleeding. And that's really the best part of the game. This is a game that I think would do fantastically with a modern sequel. Give some enterprising indie team the rights to Haunting, and let's just see what they do. I think that would be so cool. Do so much with this. 2-player games, health Renew, Ecto Beasts. I'll read a few more pages here, and then we'll give away N++, and then we'll get going, and then I can let loose these coughs that seem to be building up behind me right now. So I might wind up joining Polterguy in the afterlife here. Ecto Beasts. Ecto Beasts are Polterguy's nightmare. He can't scare them, and they're real pigs when it comes to gobbling ecto. You can count on running into them in houses when there's ecto around to suck up. The phrase, they're real pigs when it comes to gobbling ecto, is a fun one to read. The dog. The Sardinis own a dog who's as nasty as they are, maybe even nastier. In many ways, the dog is Polterguy's worst enemy. He can clearly see Polterguy, even though the Sardinis can't. He can calm the Sardinis after Polterguy has scared them. He sounds like a nice guy. If he barks at Polterguy, it reduces his ecto level, almost as if he's taking a bite out of it. His barking can also summon ecto beasts, and while Polterguy can distract the dog, he can't scare it. It's almost as if he's more than an ordinary mutt. I don't actually know what that reference is, but I don't remember, but I want to find out. Frightums, which are fright dash EMS. The houses in Haunting are filled with ordinary ordinary looking objects, furniture, appliances, pictures, etc., but don't be fooled. Many of these are tinged with supernatural qualities, that Polterguy can exploit to frighten and chase away the Sardinis. These special objects are called Frightums. They are Polterguy's primary means for scaring the Sardinis. There's one sure way of telling Frightums from ordinary stuff. Frightums flash with an eerie light when Polterguy gets near them. Frightums can be entered at any time, but will only activate when a Sardini is in the room. All Frightums have an unlimited number of usages, but can only be activated once per visit to each room. I do wonder if you came in and you saw Paper Shredder bleeding, it'd be pretty scary the first time, but then maybe progressively less scary as you went along. Don't know how many chances I'd give it though. Trap Frightums are triggered like a bear trap. Jump into it to load it and then jump back out again. Hopefully this will attract a Sardini. Trap Frightums glisten with a blue light when you walk up to them. There's also automatic Frightums, which call for a bit of lurking. Jump into one and activate it. Automatic Frightums glimmer with a characteristic yellow light. And then there's controllable ones. They're under a time limit once you activate them. You can activate some controllable Frightums for multiple scares by pressing the A button. For example, suppose you activate a controllable Frightum and a tornado appears. If you press the A button, lightning will shoot out of the tornado until the Frightums time runs out. These extra scares will not increase a Sardini's fear level, but will increase the amount of ecto that you can scare out of them. So, there we go. I think one thing that I want to call out in this manual is something I love of the era is just how conversational it is. You're reading this, and it's like someone is just telling you how to play the game. I really like that. I like, for example, suppose you activate a controllable Frightum and a tornado appears. It's a completely reasonable thing to say and read out loud. But it's just, yeah, it's just a friend. It's your friends at Electronic Arts who we met at the beginning, telling you how to play the game. There's Dog Off. Ghosts have invented the Dog Off spell to distract dogs by leaving a bowl of dog food on the floor. A mutt will chow down when it sees the free grub and be distracted. Ghosts have invented the Dog Off spell, which is feeding a dog. And then there's a Super Scare. The Super Scare spell creates a gift wrapped present that's no gift and leaves it in a room for some unsuspecting Sardini to find. If a mortal is in the room when the box explodes, their fright level will jump way up. This will be reflected in the fright meter. If there's no mortal in the room when a super scare detonates, the spell is wasted. So there you go. Polterguy can possess humans with zombie eyes for a short period of time and move them around in a trance-like state. You move someone around just like you move Polterguy. The Sardinis are even scarier as zombies than they usually are. A zombie-eyed Sardini can even scare a non-zombie-eyed Sardini just by walking up to them and pressing A. That would be pretty scary. And then finally, excuse me, you've got when you scare a Sardini out of the house, you're awarded bonus points, which I think is pretty cool. And then there's I'm going to read you something. I'm going to say one thing. I told you how much I appreciate Polterguy as a name here. The hints and tips section is called Polter Guidance, and I think that's pretty good. Polter Guidance. Sometimes, here's some Polter Guidance for everybody. Sometimes you'll hear ecto drop after you've scared someone out of a room, but you won't see where it fell. Try to remember where a victim was standing every time you scared them. That's where the ecto will be. If you don't remember where they were standing, check along the walls and behind objects that block your view of the floor. Use the Super Scare spell when you're low on ecto. If the spell scares a Sardini out of the room, it will create an extra big ecto drop that will fill up your ecto meter halfway when you pick it up. And finally, use trap and automatic frightums to control a victim's movement. You can use an automatic frightum to scare them toward a particular door, or you can use a trap frightum to keep them from exiting. So that's some Polter Guidance for you to go off and have some fun. I really appreciate all of you for joining me today, all of my polterguests. And I'm going to read the credits real quick. The entire credits for the game. Design, Dave Ralston and John Salwitz. Programming, John Salwitz and Keith Robertson. Graphics, Will Noble, Dave Ralston, Carolee Hatzdotter, Greg Williams. Hi, Greg. Cynthia Hamilton. Music and sound effects, Tony Berkeley, Michael Bartlow, Don Vecca. Music, I just did that one. Producer, Don Traeger. Associate producer, Scott Gilliland. Technical director, John Brooks. Product testing, John Boyro and Eric Newhouse. Product manager, Dave Newbecker. Marketing art direction, Nancy Wisenan. Package design, Jim Blair. Documentation, Michael Humes. Documentation might be this. I don't know if that means... Or documentation layout, Corey Higgins. So maybe thank you to Michael Humes and Corey Higgins for the manuals. Quality assurance, Walter Ianeo, Eric Whitey Whiteford. Special thanks to Connie Bratt, Tom Colley, Jesse Fremont, Mark Gilliland, and Gordon Bellamy. Yeah, my polterguests. Thank you, everybody. Scores. So when I start playing again, I can enter my scores. I'll just write down the cool things I scared the Sardinis with, and scared them out of their houses. So, and then they'd have to sell those houses probably at a loss because it's pretty obviously haunted, with cutting boards that bleed, dart boards that bleed. So there we go. That was Haunting, starring Poltergeist. Nice big box, beautiful stuff. Yeah, we learned a lot today, I think. So that was that one. Now we'll do one more quick giveaway and then everybody gets to go. I don't actually know what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to use Street Fighter 2 again, just because it's here. And we'll go back to here and see if I get DMCA'd. Be great. So we're going to go back to this. And I am going to say at the end of the manual, there is a special merchandise offer for a number of different kinds of things that you can get from the Street Fighter 2 store. I will show you this afterwards. But I'm going to say three things that you can get, one of which is not something that you can get from this store. Does this make sense? We are still in 1993. I'll read you the prices afterwards. They were kind of expensive, to be honest. So, three things that you can buy in the store through the merchandise offer at the back of the manual for Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. Two of which you can get in here, one of which you can't. Which is the one that you can't get? First person to get it wins. And if that doesn't work, I'm just going to do another birthday. Okay. You can get a Street Fighter 2 volleyball style cap, a set of Street Fighter 2 commemorative plates, or a patch, a 2-inch patch embroidered with the Street Fighter 2 logo. Which of these is not actually available in this manual? This probably doesn't work because there's a delay on chat. So if this doesn't work, I'll give somebody a Dizzy and Lost says plates. Patch. McMahon says patch. Anybody else have anything that they think? Can you buy a shirt? Can you buy plates? Can you buy patch? Give folks one more moment. And if we don't hear from anybody, I'm going to go ahead. We do have a winner. Volleyball hat. Did I say shirt? Yeah, volleyball hat. Sorry. Okay. So. No, you didn't make that up, Home Team Game Dev. I screwed it up. However, before I screwed it up, we did get a winner. Before I made that mistake, I did do the correct ones. And Dizzy and Lost won. There are, in fact, no plates. There are, in fact, no commemorative Street Fighter 2 plates in the back of the manual. You can get a Street Fighter 2 watch, a Street Fighter 2 cotton t-shirt, a Street Fighter 2 volleyball style cap. Thank you, Home Team Game Dev. My brain is a little bit fried. Street Fighter 2 poster, Street Fighter 2 mobile, like or over your baby's crib. Street Fighter 2 trading cards, Street Fighter 2 sheet of stickers, and a Street Fighter 2 patch for embroidery. I will let you know the watch was $20, $19.95. The shirt was $14.95. The volleyball cap was $9.95. The poster is $2.95. The limited edition mobile was only $9.95. And the combo pack with limited edition trading cards, stickers, and patch was $9.95. California residents, please add $8.25 sales tax. Mail this certificate with the UPC code right here. And you could just send it over to Capcom Main Street, 234 Main Street in Pleasanton, California. So just head on over to Pleasanton. That's just a hop, skip, and a jump for me. So there we go. So Dizzy and Lost is the winner of N++. Can I request you to message me on the side? I want to make sure it gets to the right place. And earlier, the winner was Only Good News, right? So we got Only Good News, Dizzy and Lost. These are our winners, but I think at the end of the day, we're all winners. Thank you for joining. I had a lot of fun today. I really appreciate all of this. Y'all are amazing. And I cannot thank you enough for coming and hanging out. It really does. It really is a lot of fun for me. And heck yeah. So give feedback, open to any of that sort of stuff. Let me know how it goes. And have a good rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy. If you're in a place that's gotten too warm, stay hydrated, I guess. Drink that Ecto. Stay full of Ecto. Otherwise, you have to go to the dungeon, I think is what we learned from here. So have a great one, everybody. Talk to you soon. Dizzy and Lost, please do message me on the side. And Only Good News, I will send you your code here shortly. Bye, everybody. End stream. Stop streaming.